Good morning, guys. Joe Madden here, the Joe Madden Sports Podcast. I am joined this morning by Dawg, Gilles Gallant, host of Touchdown Town and Dog Days Afternoon on the FTN network. How are you doing this morning, Dawg?
Joe, I'm doing great. It's good to see you again. Always fun to do a little home and home kind of series here for interviews. It was great to have you on my show, Dog Day Afternoon, yesterday. So I'm happy to join you today.
I am so excited to have you here today. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk some NBA, some NHL, whatever you want to talk. But first, I want to get into how you got into this business.
Sure. Yeah. So it'd be a little over 5 years ago now. So I've been working full time in the sports betting industry for a little over 5 years. Started off with a company called Oddshark, and then I moved over to FTM Bets just last July. And yeah, it's been a great time. Started off when I first started with Oddshark. How I got there was, so one of my best friends is Joe Osborne, who works at Oddshark, and he recruited me to come there. We would talk sports forever, and then he just kind of thought, you know what, there's a writing job opening up. We talk about sports and betting all the time. Why don't you come try it out? And it worked. But when I first started off, I wasn't really writing like NBA or NFL. Like I kind of had to kind of cut my teeth and work into it. So I was doing like the niche stuff like NASCAR, CFL to a lesser extent. And then I was also doing a little bit of NHL as well. And then once I kind of proved my chops, cut my teeth, I was able to kind of move over to doing more NBA and NFL. And I haven't looked back since.
Oh, I absolutely love it. Great way into this industry. What's your favorite part about it?
I would definitely say the community and just, betting props as well. Like props, again, is something that over the last 3 years has really exploded, and really exploded over the last year, which is awesome to see, because when I first entered the space, I don't want to say people looked down on props, but they just weren't as to the forefront as the traditional bet of like a side and total of a game. And now we're seeing, the expansion of the industry. More new bettors are coming into the space as more states are starting to be legalized in the United States. And it's just fantastic to see. So seeing this community grow and watching the people, learn to have fun with it, finding a new recreational hobby, like kind of educating people about the bankroll management and, what is a good bet? What is a bad bet? Looking at different odds and trying to identify value. Just the educational aspect is definitely one of my top things about being in this industry.
Oh, absolutely. And with these prop bets, we are finding so much value in different areas as well. Instead of just, like you said, having to take a side, having to take a total, you can really hone in on your favorite players as well, which is always nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of how I don't want to say got popular on Twitter, but how I started it was kind of the writing the NBA and the NFL. But I was always betting touchdown scores. That was always something that I was doing, but I wasn't really doing a ton of content about it and wasn't really posting the picks on Twitter. This was back in 2016, 2017. And then the 2018 and 2019 season, I started posting them, having great success with them, hitting big ones like, that are plus 1,000, plus 500, those kinds of things, and started to develop a following because I think a lot of people saw of how fun it is to bet on a touchdown score in the NFL as opposed to an outright winner, because sometimes in the NFL, some games can be pretty one-sided. And, to just bet, if you have a pretty good lean on that side or total, that's great. But games don't usually play out that way. And I'd love to be able to get some props and be able to bet on those kinds of things. So the touchdown scores in the NFL prop market are exactly what I love to do.
I love it. Do you remember your first ever prop bet you made?
Yeah. Oh, wow. All right. It was probably to hit a touchdown score. I didn't hit it. But again, it was one of those things like it was like a needle drop in my head where I was like, oh my God, like it was right up until the fourth quarter. He dropped the ball in the end zone. Like, again, even though it crushed me, to lose, I was one of those people where I was just like, that was way more fun than any spread bet that I had ever won or money line bet that I had ever won at that point.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was kind of where it would come down to. That was probably around like 2015, 2016. Again, the prop markets just weren't as available back then. I mean, it doesn't seem like that long ago, but really it's like a lifetime ago in the sports betting industry.
Absolutely. The changes we've seen even in the last couple of years here are phenomenal. Definitely changing for the better. I know a lot more availability to sell out of your bets when you have those large parlays and everything coming across the board. So it's definitely good to see the changes we are having in the industry.
Yeah, and again, I hope that it keeps continuing. I think the one thing, obviously, is a state like New York, coming through, more states, kind of opening up the legalization of sports betting. So you're seeing a lot of new bettors come into the space as well who want to, partake in the fun and whatever else. And I'm just hoping that it will only continue to expand.
Awesome. Tell me more about your two shows you have on the FTN network.
Sure. So we'll start with Touchdown Town. So Touchdown Town is a show that I do every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern on the FTN Network YouTube channel, where we give out our best touchdown bets for the 1 p.m. Eastern and the 4 p.m. Eastern games. That's co-hosted with my friend Brendan Dawg. And what we do is we basically detail kind of strategy and value and kind of looking at different ways to beat the touchdown market, which is very hard to do, by the way, especially if you're routinely betting touchdown scores that are over plus 200 or more. So we've been able to find different ways to be able to capitalize on that, and we explain that in great detail every Sunday to go into your 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern games. So that way you're able to, whether you want to tail or, just to give you some insight into looking on betting the touchdown market for that specific week. The other show that I do is called Dog Day Afternoon, and that airs every Wednesday and every Friday on FTN Network, where I basically give out my best bets for that night. And as we go throughout the summer, it may change less to a pick show and more into looking at the futures markets as we approach the NFL season. That's the best part about having a weekly or weekly show like that is you can always evolve and you can always be able to throw in some picks if you want that day, maybe do some futures markets that day. It's kind of whatever is the bet du jour, I guess it would be. So those are the two shows that I have right now on the FTN network.
Oh, and they're fantastic shows, you guys. So make sure you go over there and check those out. Subscribe also to the YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on any of those content.
Absolutely. So yeah, the FTN Network YouTube channel. You can follow me on Twitter at GDawg5000. So any of the time that I would post shows or if a show is going live, you'll get a notification pretty much immediately that the show is live so you can just watch it.
Absolutely. Now let's talk some sports. We've got the NBA playoffs tonight, the Dallas Mavericks and the Golden State Warriors. Anything you're looking for a prop in this one tonight?
Yeah, so I just posted this with my daily article. So the other thing that I was going to say too is that at ftmbets.com, I do an article on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday called Dog of the Day, where it's my favorite plus money bet of the day. And then on Wednesdays and Fridays is where you can get my picks right on the show Dog Day Afternoon. But now today, what I published, my favorite prop today is Steph Curry to have a double-double in Game 5 versus the Mavericks, because right now it's sitting at plus 425. It might range to plus 450 to plus 400, depending on the sports book you use. But the main reason why I wanted to take it today, Joe, is just track record with Steph, especially playing against this Mavericks offense and defense that is gravitating more towards the small ball. They're not really playing anybody that's really taller than 6'7", 6'8". Maxi Kleber is probably their tallest player at 6'9", and he is not a threat at the rim at all. And the reason why I bring that up is that because he's not a threat at the rim or a rebounding threat, that opens up more rebounding opportunities for a guy like Steph Curry, who had double-digit rebounds in Game 1. He had 2 double-doubles in 4 games so far this series. And the Mavs, because of their small ball play, they're actually allowing the most rebounds and assists to opposing guards so far in the playoffs, and they're last amongst all 4 playoff teams. And Curry, what you could do when you look at his game logs and you look at the Nuggets series and you look at the Grizzlies series, he was only averaging 8.8 rebounds and assists combined against Denver, 10.6 versus Memphis, and that's now increased to 14.5 in this game. So obviously, in order to get a double-double, you got to get more than 10 points. You got to either get 10 rebounds or 10 assists. The fact that the Mavericks are very prone to this, I think, leads to a good spot at plus 425. Another thing as well, if you're just looking at regular season stats, in 4 games versus Dallas this year, he had a double-double in one of those games, but he actually finished with 9 rebounds and 9 assists in the other 3 games. So again, just a good shot to get to that double-digit mark. And then, of course, the odds. Like, this is another reason how I bet like touchdown scores, or how I bet is I like to see what the odds are telling me. And once you get a couple games of data, what are the odds in comparison? So In game one, when he had a double-double, it was actually sitting at plus 700. So immediately they dropped it down to about plus 500 for game two. Didn't have a double-double. But then in game three, which he did have a double-double, it was plus 450. Now down to plus 425 again in game four. Didn't get the double-double because, again, it was a blowout pretty much from front to start or front to finish. But so what I would say is right now you're getting it at plus 450 at like a sports book like Caesar's Sportsbook. And to be able to get those odds in a home game against this team that is just allowing so much rebounds and assists to opposing guards, I think is pretty good value for this type of matchup.
Yeah, I think it is. And looking at them dropping it from that original plus 700, you really do think the books are trying to cover themselves in this situation. For people like you who are going to come in and bet this one, I think it is a great way to take it. Looking for a phenomenal night out of him for sure. Any leans on this game? You think Golden State just completely dominates in this one? Another blowout win for them here?
See, this is tough because the spread has just only gone up. Like game one and game two, they won by 25, then they won by 9, even though they were trailing the entire game pretty much in game two, right up until the final minutes of the fourth quarter. It's difficult because the books are telling you that it's going to be a blowout again. And we've had so many blowouts so far in these playoffs. But really what you're banking on when you're betting on the Mavericks is, are they going to hit 3-point shots?
Absolutely.
And that's really, unfortunately, what it comes down to, because they lead the NBA playoffs in 3-point shot attempts. So if you're going to bet on the Mavericks in the spot, you're really banking that they're going to hit at least 40 to 45% of their threes. I'm just not confident they can do that. So for me, I would probably lean to Warriors. But again, I don't feel great about it just because it's such a larger spread in the playoffs. But with how many blowouts we've seen so far in this postseason, -7 isn't that crazy of a bet.
Yeah, absolutely not. It's going to be an interesting game. That is for sure. So all the best in your prop in this one of Steph Curry for that double-double. Plus 420, plus 450 or plus 425?
I got it at plus 450, but I've seen it at lots of different books. It's over plus 400 at every book, but it just depends on the book. It ranges from plus 400 to plus 450.
Gotta love that plus money. Okay, G-Dawg, I know you've got a ton on your plate today. I'm not going to keep you too long. Can you let everyone know again where to find you on all social media, as well as where and when to watch your shows?
Absolutely. So follow me on Twitter at GDawg5000. That's where you'll find all of my content, all of my picks. And of course, make sure to subscribe to the FTN Network YouTube channel, because that's where my 2 shows that I do weekly. Touchdown Town will be coming back later this summer. Right now, Dog Day Afternoon is the main show that I do. That's on Wednesdays and Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern on the FTN Network. And we have guests like yourself and other sports betting handicappers to come on and share their best bets for the night as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic shows that you have going on over there. So you guys make sure you go check out G-Dawg at all of his social media handles and his shows. So you guys have a fantastic day. I'll be back at the bottom of the hour with another Joe Madden Sports podcast. G-Dawg, thank you for joining me here today.
Cheers, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.